Good morning, Fossil Ridge. We're excited to have you here. This month, November, we are making cookies again. This time we're gonna make pumpkin chocolate chip cookies in celebration of November and just finishing Halloween in October last month. So this time we're focusing on science though, and we want to be able to talk about the changes of the physical changes and the chemical changes of ingredients as we make the cookies. And to help us do that, I've invited our science team to be able to come and help us learn about the science making of cookies. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Belvin and I teach 6th and 7th grade science right now. And my favorite cookie is probably chocolate chip and oatmeal.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Sterland. My favorite cookie is Snickerdoodle.
Hey, I'm Mr. Losi. My favorite cookie is an Oreo. I can eat a whole pack of Oreos easily.
Hi, I'm Miss Dodge and my favorite cookie is chocolate chip.
Hello, I'm Mr. Yagi, 6th grade science, and we're going to introduce my favorite cookie.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started.
All right, first we want to talk about physical and chemical properties of the substances, the ingredients that we're going to be using. Or some common ones that we talk about when we talk about cookies and baking in general. And so properties are the details that we use to describe substances. And these properties help us determine what something is and help us distinguish what a substance is and tell us the difference between these different substances. So what I want you to do first, take a moment and just look at these substances. Try to determine if the lids are matching with what's inside. If you need to, pause the video. Alright, so one of the things that you're going to do is as you look at this, you probably started saying, hey, that one's kind of a little browner, or that one looks a little grainier. So you're trying to decide what's going on. Those are those physical properties that we use to determine what a substance is. We can also use chemical properties. Chemical properties are properties that are going to cause a chemical change. So there will actually be a difference in the substance at the end. So if I take some vinegar, okay, I'm going to put some vinegar and there's going to be some chemical reactions. So do we see one here? Not really, okay, that's not it. Okay, so probably nothing there. By the way, that is definitely not sugar, okay? All right, so right now you're seeing some physical changes happening. Right here, there's some dissolving, that's a physical change, okay? Over here, we see some bubbles. So that one's actually correct, that one's baking soda. And then check this one out at the end. So that one's just a physical change as well. So using these physical properties and chemical properties, we can determine what some of these substances are. And just for fun, we're going to tell you the right answer. So that darker one is the flour. This was the baking soda. And I switched the sugar and the salt. So those are the right answers. How did you do?
All right, first let's look at the basic ingredients in most cookie recipes: flour, sugar, eggs, butter, and baking soda. Each one plays a special role in the cookie making process. So first here we have flour. Flour is a powdery substance. It provides structure because it is made of proteins like gluten. When we mix flour with water from the eggs or butter, gluten forms, giving cookies their chewy texture. Second, we have sugar. Sugar sweetens our cookies, but it also affects texture. Granulated sugar makes cookies crispy, while brown sugar, which contains molasses, adds moisture and chewiness. Third is eggs. Eggs help bind everything together. They add moisture and also contribute to the cookies' rise during baking due to the air trapped in them. Then we have our butter. Butter is solid at room temperature, but it melts when it is heated. Butter not only adds flavor, but also affects texture. When we cream butter with sugar, we incorporate air, which helps our cookies rise. And lastly, we have baking soda. Baking soda is a leavening agent. When it reacts, it helps cookies rise and become fluffy by releasing carbon dioxide when it reacts. That's all for our ingredients for cookies.
All right, you guys, we're gonna talk about the mixing process. We're gonna start mixing our cookies. So when we're mixing, we're mostly looking at physical changes. When we beat butter and sugar together, we're creating tiny air pockets. These pockets expand when heated, making our cookies fluffy. These are physical changes. When the liquids, things like the eggs and the pumpkin, when you mix them in, things start to get more interesting. Mix flour and baking soda with wet ingredients, we're developing gluten, which also adds to the texture of our cookies. But be careful, over mixing can lead to tough cookies.
So next is the baking process. So let's discuss what happens in the oven. When we place our cookies dough into the oven, several physical and chemical reactions occur. So we're going to have melting going on in there. We have butter melting and it spreads and it helps the cookies flatten out. We have browning going on in there. There's chemical and heat reactions going on in there to give the cookies their brown color and rich flavor. There is carbon dioxide production going on in there with baking soda. It produces carbon dioxide when it reacts with the acid. These gases form bubbles, making the cookies rise. And then we have, with the flour and the eggs, they set it up and it gives the cookies the structure as they cool down.
Now that we know the science, think of an experiment that you, with permission, could do at home. You could try baking a batch of cookies with baking soda and a batch without. Or baking a batch at a high temperature and then a low temperature. Don't forget to write your procedures and record your data. Things like this are what food scientists, bakers, and you can do to make the best cookies.
I want to thank our science teachers for helping us this month in baking pumpkin chocolate chip cookies and helping us learn that mixing the ingredients is not just a fun experience, but we get to see the physical and the chemical changes throughout the entire process. So remember, the next time that you're in the kitchen baking, you're not only a baker, but you are a scientist. Thanks and have a great month.